On Christmas Eve, Mulder decides to visit a mansion with a haunting past. It's all a ghost story to Scully, easily written off.
But as they check it out, either willingly or unwillingly, they become pawns to two bored ghosts looking for a good time.
Not happening. This is not happening.
Fuck the internet.
Truer words. Oh, God. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew, and as always, joined by my good friend, Mike, whose video is buffering.
Gotta love it.
All I see are the two squares going around. I don't even know if you're really there. You could be missing.
I promise I am. I could be a ghost.
You could be a ghost. Well, apropos of nothing, that is topical.
Yeah.
Because we're going to tell ghost stories today. We're not even going to do an X-Files episode. We're just going to tell some scary stories, do some scones, and it's going to be great.
Some scones.
So go. Yeah, I don't know where to give. I meant to say s'mores. That's what I meant to say.
Well, we went...
But it came out scones.
Yes, we went British.
We went British. It was delightful. No, tonight is going to be, of course, How the Ghosts Stole Christmas. A little bit later than our Christmas episode should have been, obviously. We should have tried to tee this up for a holiday ep. But anyway, here we are. December 25th, 1998. This broadcast, and 10 million people apparently tuned in. This one written and directed by Chris Carter. I think this is number 6 for him. Does that sound about right for you?
We're pretty close to 10. He's
written a lot, but directing?
Yeah, directing is not usually his go-to, but I think the next one, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's first-person shooter in season 7, I think.
Well, I mean, here he is doing almost back-to-back episodes because Triangle was, of course, his last one, and that one was particularly challenging.
Yeah. Very artsy. This one, not as much, but still very fun.
Yeah. Apparently one of the cheapest episodes to film because it only really had a single set.
Yeah.
And only 4 actors.
And as I mentioned, I believe it was in Dreamland 1, season 6, it is when, we're in Hollywood, so the guest actors are coming out of the woodwork, and now we've got Lily Tomlin and Ed Asner. Very esteemed stars.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to knock it out of the park, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. Do you know who the original first choice was for Maurice?
I don't.
Do you want to guess?
I would, please. Guess.
Obviously, somebody of similar age and
Kurt Russell.
Mannerism, though. Yeah, Kurt Russell, clearly.
I don't know, because I would go with like a Peter Boyle, but he's already been used. I don't have a guess, sir.
You're going to kick yourself?
I'm going to kick myself. Dick Cheney?
All right. No, not Dick Cheney. Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart. Okay, that makes sense.
I think he would have been great.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ed Asner. I think Ed brings a really... He makes the role his own, but I think Bob Newhart...
A little gruffer, I think. Ed Asner is a little bit gruffer, but yeah, Bob Newhart would have been a good choice.
Except he had no interest in working with the X-Files. He turned him down. Said, nope, not for me. Whereas Lily Tomlin had reached out to say, hey, if ever you've got a role for me, let me know. I'd love to be on your show.
Nice.
So,
well, they did have a role, and it's this one.
They sure did in this legitimately haunted house episode. I mean, I often comment on the Monster of the Week episodes that, they can be a haunted house, whether it be in Ice, where it's kind of a haunted house, or in some ways.
Darkness Falls.
Darkness Falls was a haunted house episode. This is the haunted house episode. So in the writing of it, apparently they did work backwards from the shot of the agent's bloody shot and crawling on the floor to figure out how they got to that point. And I think it works pretty well.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Do we want to start telling the ghost story? Is it time?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll start cramming your mouth full of s'mores and scones because here we go.
Scones. Bit dry.
Scones, the traditional food of ghost storytelling.
Yes.
Christmas Eve, somewhere in Maryland, a church organ plays somberly as we set our scene at night, the exterior of a downtrodden mansion dimly lit by moonlight. We cut to the interior of Mulder's car as he listens to Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, sitting alone in darkness. Another car pulls up. Evidenced by its headlights, it's Scully. It's Christmas, and it's busy, so he almost gave up on her. He's there on a stakeout, but she's not really into the idea on a Christmas Eve, as she's got lots of Christmas-related activities to finish still. But Mulder's insistent, filling her in on the details. No one lives in the house, and he's staking out the former occupants who may have come back.
Christmas, 1917. It was a time of dark, dark despair. American soldiers were dying at an ungodly rate in a war-torn Europe, while at home a deadly strain of the flu virus attacked young and old alike. Tragedy was a visitor on every doorstep, while a creeping hopelessness set in with every man, woman, and child. It was a time of dark, dark despair.
You said that.
But here at 1501 Larkspur Lane, for a pair of star-crossed lovers, tragedy came not from war or pestilence, not by the boot heel or the bombardier, but by their own innocent hand.
Go on.
His name was Maurice. He was a brooding but heroic young man, beloved of Lida, a sublime beauty with a light that seemed to follow her wherever she went. They were likened to two angels descended from heaven whom the gods could not protect from the horrors being visited upon this cold, gray earth.
And what happened to them?
Driven by a tragic fear of separation, they forged a lover's pact so that they might spend eternity together and not spend one precious Christmas apart.
They killed themselves?
And our ghosts haunt this house every Christmas Eve.
Well, technically, American soldiers didn't hit the ground in France until May 1918. Not seeing action until June, but hey, history is not really Mulder's forte.
Not important, sir.
Yeah, I know, not really the thing. But here we are, Christmas having a ghost story. Liking it so far?
Yeah, I am. The only thing I find fault with, and I didn't really pay attention to this until just now, but the legend at the beginning of the episode says somewhere in Maryland.
Yeah.
Yet Scully has a car full of Christmas presents that she's just waiting to get back to Washington, D.C. to...
Aren't they real close together?
I mean...
Washington and Maryland?
They're not that close, are they? Am I like
Listen,
just
man, it's your country.
a geography noob right now? I don't recall. I'm thinking there's got to be more than just a little bit of driving.
Okay. Mike, while I finish up our open here, I would like you to just throw open, Waze or Google Maps or something and plot a course from her apartment where we know where that is.
Okay. Well, okay. If you... Okay, I guess.
Okay.
Washington, D.C. to
DC.
the edge of Maryland is 45 minutes.
We'll just assume it's right on the border.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I guess my concerns are assuaged.
All right. Have you got a number? Is that what you've already got there?
45 minutes.
Well, you see, it's a little bit out of her way, so she's PO'd. But
it still just doesn't. It just struck me as weird. She's got a car full of presents. It's Christmas Eve, and she takes the time to meet Mulder in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, they do try to iron that plot nugget a bit from the beginning, that she does not want to be here. They do hold that nugget close, which is good.
Yes.
Anyway, Scully remains skeptical. She does not believe in ghosts, and on any other night, she might be persuaded, but she has got cheer to spread. Mulder decides he's just going to go take a look, and she's going to leave. However, as she looks to go, she can't find her car keys. Mike, this is the second time she has had an issue with car keys. Do you remember the first time?
All Souls? When she dropped them.
They're dropping the car keys.
Dropped them for no reason.
And it looks up to see the face of God. Yeah, that was a
yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. We swap to Mulder creaking open the door to look around with the tiniest of flashlights A crash of lightning, and Scully rushes inside, asking if Mulder has her car keys. He professes his ignorance as they hear steps upstairs and the grandfather clock chimes. A cold wind blows through the house. Lightning crashes again, slamming the door shut. Scully rushes over, but the doors will not budge as she continues to smash at them. Credits. All right, Mike, let me have it. What do you think of this one?
I mean, I'm always on board for a good haunted house. So I was very much on board the first time I saw this. I was like, okay.
Yep.
Keeping in line with season 6 so far, lighthearted, a little bit more fun than serious. And here we go. It's Christmas time and it's a haunted house. So
exactly.
And of course, Mulder stole her fucking keys because he's a creep.
Well, that is a really interesting question. I was going to save it for later. And in fact, I think I will save it for later because we got a bit of plot to go through first.
All right.
Yeah. Mulder is not perturbed by this crashing and closing and locking of doors. He's not interested in figuring that out. He insists that ghosts are benevolent entities, and despite Scully's insistence that she really has to get home, Mulder searches the house. Scully catches a glimpse of an older woman in a housecoat, which disappears in a crash of lightning. She chases after Mulder. They discuss the nature of ghosts. Scully suggests that the idea of a spirit returning just to scare the living is silly and ridiculous, and that really tells us more about ourselves than the supernatural. And I really like that that thrust and parry of the argument there, that this whole business of ghosts is ridiculous. The episode clearly, though, is going to tell us that ghosts are real and get over yourself, Scully.
Scully is here to stop all of our supernatural beliefs and our legends and our abilities to maybe communicate with our past loved ones. She's just going to tell us that we're all babies and we're making it up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at the end of her nattering on about the nature of ghosts, a door squeaks open invitingly, despite all of the doors that Mulder has tested so far being locked tight. Scully goes over to examine the door, looking through it into a lit room. Scully remarks on how somebody might actually be living here, as there weren't lights on in the house when they were in the car, but now they are in a well-appointed parlor. All the lights are on. Logs in the fireplace smoke gently, the fire having just gone out. Mulder gives us a bit more exposition. Every couple that's ever lived here over the past 80 years has met a tragic end with 3 double murders, all on Christmas Eve. It does feel like an X-File to me, doesn't it?
I like that he just continues on with the story despite everything that's happening around them.
You got to go home, right? Yeah, well, listen, we just got one more room to go through. Come on.
Listen, every couple that's been here on Christmas Eve winds up dead.
So we're here now.
We're here.
Let's see what happens in this well thought out plan. There is the sound of steps upstairs and then a thumping under the floorboards beneath them. After a good jump scare, Mulder decides to tear up the floorboards, revealing 2 dead bodies, their skin long since decayed. A man and a woman, shot to death, wearing clothing suspiciously similar to Mulder and Scully. They decide it's time to leave and rush back to the door, exiting through only to enter into exactly the same room. Impossible. And we have a lovely sequence of them walking through the room a few times, exiting through the opposite door, only to come into exactly the same room. And when they decide to try the experiment of Mulder exiting through the door to see if he arrives through the door Scully waits beside, they're foiled. He does not appear, and now they're separated, both alone, in an identical parlor. Commercial.
It reminds me
dying
of
to get a word in edgewise, so here you go.
Star Trek episode where Worf and Riker are going from bridge to bridge, and Worf's like, "There's one bridge." Oh, it's good stuff.
And he's like tearing at the door. Yeah. Interesting setup. They clearly are having a lot of fun with the location that they have.
Oh yeah, they're trapped in a Mario level. Yes, the original Mario where it's one screen and you go out the left side, you come in the right.
Yeah.
Ugh. Hell.
Well, after the commercial, Mulder bangs on the door, but of course it's locked. He draws his gun and shoots the lock, opening the door to reveal a brick wall. A gruff voice calls out, with Mulder wheeling around to point his gun at an older man. This is Maurice, played by Ed Asner.
Invasions, is it?
No.
Good. Would you like me to show you the door?
That's very funny.
I wasn't making a joke.
Have you looked at the door?
I'm looking at it now.
Tell me what you see.
See a door with the lock shot off it. You gonna pay for that?
That's a door with a brick wall behind it.
Okay, sure.
You're playing tricks on me.
If I am, I'm sorry, but I don't know any tricks.
Yeah, well, that's a trick in itself, isn't it? You've been playing tricks on us since we got here.
Oh, Ed Asner. Hamming it up.
Hamming it up. His little bucket hat.
Yeah. That's suspicious, isn't it?
Very much so.
Well, apparently there have been other visitors to the house, ghost hunters, but Mulder is the first one to come armed. When Mulder asks about the bodies on the floorboards, they've disappeared. Mulder is flummoxed. Sometime later, Morris reveals that he works in the field of mental health, specializing in, quote, manias related to pathological behavior as it pertains to the paranormal. In other words, Mulder. Maurice goes on to go, Mulder, he's a lonely man chasing paramasturbatory illusions that will give his life some kind of meaning. That is the
excellent word.
That Mulder's afraid of being alone. Well, Maurice goes to leave Mulder, walking through the empty doorway where recently a brick wall once stood. Maurice challenges Mulder to change his life, and as Mulder approaches him, he collides with a brick wall. All right. So they are clearly having a lot of fun with the camera stuff. Like suddenly things are there. They turn around. The doors are open. They're gone. It's a brick wall. I like their use of messing with the convention. I think it's great so far. Mm-hmm. So far, I'm on board. Where are you at?
I'm just enjoying the situations Mulder and Scully are finding themselves in where Mulder is, he's obviously lured Scully here to do what he wants, which is what he always does. He always gets her to follow him. She gets lured in because she's kind of a pushover, and in this instance, Mulder is having the tables turned on him, and he's not prepared for what they're investigating. And one of my favorite aspects about this episode in particular is just the fact that Chris Carter is taking the opportunity, especially in this scene that we just covered with Ed Asner, kind of mocking the character that Chris Carter built the show on. You know, he's becoming a little bit of a joke, and he's poking fun at the seriousness that Mulder put on himself and his mental state. I think it's just kind of a fun twist to have the creator of the character and the creator of the show get an opportunity to poke fun at his creation this way.
They are certainly taking the opportunity to dissect the characters, both Mulder and Scully. Yeah. And I think it's almost a little bit unfair to say that Mulder has dragged her in. Like he certainly at the beginning of the episode makes an attempt to be like, listen, if you don't want to be here, you know, if you got a place to be, thanks for coming, but you don't have to be here, basically is what he's trying to say. But she does do a no, I'm here now, you know, tell me about it. I think when she becomes trapped, that's when he sort of shows his inner mania of like, I need to be right by not moving to take steps to allow her to free herself. You know, that she's obviously not wanting to be here. She's a bit freaked out. You know, it's very selfish at that point that he's not like, well, let's get you out of here because you're clearly freaking out. You know, he tries to downplay it. It's like, they're benevolent beings. They're not going to hurt us. But, you know, he doesn't move to give her keys back or anything.
No.
If he, in fact, stole her keys. We switch now to Scully, who stands in a parlor alone. A door opens. A woman in an older white housecoat enters. This is, of course, Lyda, played by Lily Tomlin. And she scares the living daylights out of Scully. As Scully screams, this frightens Lyda, and Scully fumbles for a while to get her gun out, blaring all the while that she's a federal agent and she's armed. And I gotta say, the sight gag of her trying to get her gun out is perfect. The woman, Lily Tomlin, thought maybe Scully was a ghost. Scully calms down, mentioning that they'd found bodies beneath the floor, but like Mulder, when she looks for them, they're no longer there. Lyda suggests that the ghosts maybe have been playing tricks on Scully, who finds the brick wall behind the door. Lyda goes on to poke fun at Scully.
Full small life. Spending your Christmas Eve with him, running around chasing things you don't even believe in.
Don't come any closer.
I can see it in your face, the fear, the conflicted yearnings. The subconscious desire to find fulfillment through another. Intimacy through codependency.
What?
Maybe you repress the truth about why you're really here, pretending it's out of duty or loyalty, unable to admit your dirty little secret. Your only joy in life is proving him wrong.
You don't know me. And you don't live here. This isn't your house.
You wouldn't think so, the way I'm being treated.
Well, then why is all the furniture covered?
We're having the house painted.
Well, then where's the Christmas tree?
We're Jewish.
Excellent.
Well, where's your Christmas tree?
I love how she's just grasping for things.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's your Christmas tree?
It is a really great performance that she's giving here. She's legitimately scared, despite how much she says she's not scared, which is great.
Yeah. She's Gillian Anderson does such a good job in this episode that you genuinely believe that she's out of her element, which is not something we see with her. You know, even in situations that she has no, I guess I'll say earthly understanding of some paranormal situation, she's still very put together. This is very much lighthearted, very much over the top, scared, huffing and puffing, wide-eyed. And the fumbling for the gun, like you said, was fantastic.
Yeah. It's very much being done deliberately to counter Mulder's slower, considered take. Like, he's much more casual and like, what do you mean paramasturbatory? You know, it's much more, rational compared to this high emotion that we're seeing out of Scully in this moment.
Yeah.
Well, Moment takes this moment to enter. Freaked out again, Scully uses her gun to order them to move over to the other side of the room and put up their hands. As Lyda does so, her housecoat opens up, revealing a hole blown through the stomach of her gown. However, there's no body behind the gown. Scully creeps over to take off Maurice's hat, where she sees a gunshot hole in his head. Scully faints. It's really nice CGI because you can see her face through the hole as the camera pans back. That's a great moment.
Excellent. It reminds me of that movie.
Death Becomes Her.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and they literally used the effect from the movie. Apparently, their VFX team bragged that they did it quicker and cheaper and made it look almost as good. So,
yeah.
Well, Maurice and Lyda bicker about their lot in life, resorting to cheap tricks. It being so long since their last visitors, their last double murder, if they don't do something, the house will be taken off the tourist literature. As the lightning crashes, they decide they're going to show Mulder and Scully just how miserable Christmas can be. Commercial. Which is undoubtedly ads for Christmas stuff at that point.
Oh, yeah. Decorations, which are conspicuously Halloween decorations, haunting. Ghosts with holes in their head.
Yeah. Well, we come back to Mulder, flashlight in his mouth, climbing to the second floor of the parlor. Lyda enters beneath him and then reappears through the door upstairs. She identifies him as Mulder, wanting to know why he's abusing her chair as a ladder. He's just trying to get out. When he moves to go out through the door she came in, she tells him, well, you can't get out that way. And he pokes her, as if to confirm whether or not she's a ghost. And she's very much pokeable. He opens the door to reveal another brick wall. Lyda descends a ladder that wasn't there previously, sliding the chair back to its proper place. Mulder figures out that the two are Lyda and Maurice, the central figures to this house. Lyda goes over to the bookshelf, looking for the book that will tell their story, books sliding in and out of the shelves seemingly of their own accord until she finds the one she's looking for, The Ghosts Who Stole Christmas by R. Grimes. Any knowledge on who R. Grimes is or why that?
I don't. I actually didn't think about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Whether it's a writer, they tend to do that. They'll drop little nuggets of, that's so and so's son. But anyway, I don't know.
It's a good gag.
If
Good
somebody
gag
knows,
with
they
the
can
books.
Yep. Drop us a line. Who's our Grimes? Lyda sits in the armchair, subtly goading Mulder into the possibility of a murder-suicide.
We came here looking for you.
Oh, yeah? You didn't come here to be together for eternity?
No.
Because you're filled with despair and woeful Christmas melancholy?
Why?
Maybe it was your partner then.
What about her?
You knew this house was haunted.
Yeah?
Maybe you two should have discussed your real feelings before you came out here. I'm speaking from experience.
What experience?
I'm not going to get into semantics. A murder-suicide is all about trust.
I thought you had a lover's pact.
Poetic illusions aside, the outcome, Mulder, is pretty much the same. I don't show my hold to just anyone.
Why are you showing it to me?
Well, it isn't like you're going to be eating any Christmas ham, is it?
Are you trying to tell me that Scully is going to shoot me? Scully is not going to shoot me.
Suit yourself. But if you shoot first, for her the rest is an act of faith.
I wouldn't shoot her.
Maybe she shoots herself.
I wouldn't let her.
It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
And then Lyda produces a gun and offers it to Mulder. He checks his empty holster and discovers that, yep, this is his gun. Suggesting that this is the last Christmas Mulder will ever have to spend alone, she disappears, the gun falling into his hand as lightning crashes. I love this scene. I think it's a pretty great moment between Lily Tomlin and David Duchovny.
Yeah.
I don't show my hold to just anyone. I mean, come on. That could be a ringtone.
Dirty. But yeah, she's planting the seeds to be pitting themselves against each other.
Mm-hmm. This is where they're going to show them just how miserable Christmas can be. Well, we cut to Scully, who's lying on the carpet of her parlor. She's roused by the crash of lightning and the roll of thunder, grabbing her flashlight and gun and rising to her feet. The doors are still locked. We see Maurice is in there with her, and he mentions that he locked the doors for her own protection. He suggests that Mulder's crazy, and she might need to use that gun. She doesn't believe any of it. It's a bad dream. But then Mulder begins to knock on the door, calling her name. Maurice produces her car keys, mentioning that Mulder has nowhere to go this Christmas. He's all alone in his terror, dark and seriously disturbed. Her faith in her partner unshaken, she tells Maurice to open the door. He moves to the door, intoning ominously that he's seen it happen too many times in this house. He opens the door as the music reaches a crescendo, and Mulder enters, gun drawn, turning towards Scully and firing as we go to a commercial. Whoa. Dead Scully
are heating
in a
up.
haunted house.
Yeah.
Did you
What do
think
you
that maybe he, at that time when you saw this, did you think he actually shot and killed Scully?
No, I didn't believe that he actually shot and killed Scully. As they have done several times in this episode, or not this episode, this show. They're not going to just off their characters.
Yeah.
But
I think it would have hit the Hollywood Reporter that Gillian Anderson was moving on. Thank you to Matt, who mentions that the episode, the R. Grimes character was named after X-Files assistant props master Marty Grimes.
Excellent.
Told you, had to be that.
Had to be that.
Well, as we return from commercial, we see that Mulder's missed. He shoots it again and again to her left and right, and to her general amazement. She refuses to believe what he's saying, as he tells her that it's inevitable, that if they don't die, they're just condemned to more loneliness. As he takes aim again, he shoots her in the stomach, to her shock and horror. She falls to the floor as Mulder raises the gun to his temple, saying, "Merry Christmas, Scully." But as the camera moves, we see that it's not Mulder, but Lyda, playing his part in this melodrama. But Maurice intervenes before Lyda can pull the trigger, dragging Lyda away. From Scully's point of view, it's Mulder being dragged away. Well, what did you think? This is the first big reveal, big shooting.
First shooting, Scully is shot in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
She can't believe it, the look on her face.
You just shot me in the gut.
And Lyda is playing it up. She is giving Mulder some crazy face.
Yeah. Really resisting.
Good stuff. Good stuff. He actually makes contact.
Do you see much of Lily Tomlin in David Duchovny's performance in that moment? Like, he's clearly acting not like Mulder.
Yeah, he's being a little bit more crazy. I mean, I don't really think that he's trying to be Lily Tomlin, but he's definitely acting a little bit more animated.
I almost wish they had a sort of visual tick that would show us that, no, this is really not Mulder. I mean, it's obviously not Mulder because he's doing crazy shit, but like, I would have loved that little nod that, oh, I get it. It's, he's being possessed in this moment. Well, we cut to Mulder entering the room to see Scully wounded on the floor. He rushes over to help her, trying to figure out what's happened. He thinks she shot herself. She didn't think he'd do it, she says weakly. That she would. As he looks down, he sees that she has her gun to his chest, and she pulls the trigger, intoning a weak, "Merry Christmas, Mulder." He falls back in shock from being shot in the chest. The two lie beside each other as lightning crashes. Again, camera changes, and we see that it's not, in fact, Scully lying on the ground, but Lyda, who cackles with delight. So, double bluff. She has convinced them both that the other has shot them.
Yikes.
Yeah, no much doubt.
So they're rolling around on the ground, bleeding to death now.
Yeah. And in the background, a record player skips to life. And again, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" plays. We cut to the hallway where Scully and Mulder crawl and drag their wounded bodies along the floor, still trying to escape. Mulder enters the hall, seeing a trail of blood that leads to Scully as she has the lead. He calls out for her, but she is mistrustful of him, turning over and pointing her gun at him.
I'm not gonna make it.
No, you're not. Not without me, you're not.
Are you afraid, Mulder? I am.
I am too. You should have thought of this.
You should have.
You shot me first.
I didn't shoot you. You shot me.
Scully. Get up.
I can't.
Get up. You're not shot.
What?
It's Rick. It's all in your head.
And as they stand, warily and painfully at first, their clothing soaked with blood, they decide it's time to flee. They open the door and leave the house, and as they exit, the blood has disappeared. They run to their cars and drive away home as the grandfather clock tolls midnight. I really like that moment.
Yeah.
How about you?
It had to be one of their most fun and ridiculous acting moments, just writhing around on the floor down a hallway. It's just pointing their guns at each other. It's good. I enjoyed seeing it, and you can see the goal is to get them to believe so fully that they've turned on each other that they actually kill each other. That is the goal of the ghosts, but Mulder kind of finally sees through it, and he's like, wait a minute, this is all in our heads. So
yeah,
it's good stuff. I like the reveal.
Well, it's that line of "you shot me first, I didn't shoot you, you shot me," and he's sort of equating what he knows with what she's saying, and that's the vindication, right? He ultimately trusts her, so that when she's saying that, he can see, wait a second, she wouldn't say that unless she believed it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's really nice that we have that. And of course that, she says, I'm afraid, and he is too. And I think he realizes that the whole point of this has been the ghosts have been playing this trick on them, and it worked.
Yeah.
Well, back in the parlor, Lyda and Maurice sit by the fire, recollecting the day's events. They almost had them, those two lonely souls, but at least these two haven't forgot the meaning of Christmas as they hold hands, fading away as the day ends. And we cut now to Mulder's apartment, where Mulder watches the final moments of the 1951 classic Scrooge, when who comes a knocking on his door? He goes over to answer, and of course it's Scully come to call.
Are you supposed to be opening Christmas gifts with your family?
Lord, none of that really happened out there tonight. That was all in our heads, right?
It must have been.
Not that my only joy in life is proving you wrong.
When have you proved me wrong?
Well, why else would you want me out there with you?
You didn't want to be there? Oh, that's it's self-righteous and narcissistic of me to say, isn't it?
No, I mean, maybe I did want to be out there with you.
I know we said that we weren't going to exchange gifts, but I got you a little something.
Mulder,
Merry Christmas.
well, I got you a little something too.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the X-Files celebrates the Christmas season, as the agents open their presents in Mulder's apartment, traumatized by the bloody near-death experiences of a confabulated murder-suicide. All right.
Excellent.
End of episode.
Beautiful story there, Andrew.
Oh, yes. Classic for the ages.
For the ages.
But Mike, why don't you tell me your final thoughts?
It's a great episode. I think it's a story we've all heard before. It's nothing that's very groundbreaking in terms of storytelling, but they did a really good job of bringing it to the X-Files, you know, the ghosts that are terrorizing humans in a haunted house. I think that's pretty standard fare, but at the same time, they're doing it with two people that we've come to know and love, and they're doing it in a humorous way for the X-Files, which is really something that they can lean into, as they've proven time and time again to great success. So this episode, while it doesn't tread new ground with maybe themes, it is very fun to watch. And overall, the acting, I think, is done pretty well. I think Ed Asner kind of steals the show with his bits, but everyone in this episode does a really good job.
And there's only the four of them, too.
There's only the four of them.
About it is it's so tight. You know, I like it a lot, too. I'm not sure what it is about season 6 so far, but there's this quality to the Monster of the Week episodes that they're very comic. Like, not all the Monster of the Week episodes they do are comic, but so far, I mean, since the beginning, basically, I mean, we had the season opener, we had Drive, and then every one of them, and the next two that are going to happen after this have all been comic kind of undertones to them. It's like they figured out, well, the viewer response in the last couple of seasons has been the biggest in the Darren Morgan episodes, and those are all kind of funny. So maybe we just do that now. I mean,
and
is that possible they had that thought?
And that's kind of what I was getting at the beginning of the show. I think, or the beginning of this season, is there is a fundamental turn, a thematic turn for the show. We're sitting pretty much 10 episodes are quote unquote humorous. And that's huge when you compare it to the first 5 seasons.
Previous seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. So part of it might be because they were broadening their horizons. You know, they're in a new location. They've got a lot of guest actors and actresses to pull from, and they've been doing this for 6 years. So maybe maybe they're like, let's have some fun. That could be part of it. Another aspect might be, let's try to make it more approachable for the people who are coming off the movie.
Yeah, could be.
That could be something to do with it. But either way, I think it's so far so good. I think they're doing a really good job with the stuff, and they make it really enjoyable, really engaging, and it's nice to see the actors spread their wings. So,
yep, I would agree with all of that. So, I mean, I won't go deep into it, but again, we have another Deus Ex Machina kind of ending. I do like, though, it's not the circumstances saving our characters. Like, it is literally Mulder gets to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that is what saves it for me, is that we have this moment where it looks like it's going to be bad, but then his intellect is what saves them. So, yep, like it. We have one listener comment. Again,
hit me.
Matt Gonra. Brief. He says that The Ghost That Stole Christmas is a fun episode. It's a special one to me because my daughter really likes it, and it's an episode we bond over. Aww.
Nice. And that's that's a great example right there. It's a way for them to get a new audience because it is approachable.
Yes, exactly. So that's all from me, Mike. Unless there's more you wanted to add to this episode, I think that's the end of the ghost story. The ghost story.
I think it's very succinct, very apropos, very fitting for us to have a short storybook episode like this for such a theatrical and storybook episode. So
yeah,
I think we should stop there. Thank you everyone for joining us in the chat, and thank you for listening on your podcast later.
We'll look forward to speaking into your ear holes in the near future.
It will go, I will say at this moment, the next 2 episodes will not be live just because there's been some scheduling issues. So we will be recording those by ourselves. So,
you know, of course, that by the time they're hearing this, we'll already have done that 2 weeks previously.
I do understand that. I'm letting the listeners know that we're not going to be referencing the chat, sir.
Or maybe we will. Maybe we'll
just pretend.
We'll have like 30 people in the chat, and I'll be like, "Oh my goodness, look how popular we are. We're the bells of the ball."
Anyway, so yes, Terms of Endearment and The Rain King will be shot and recorded. Shot and recorded, yes, because we're shooting this live.
Different things.
We will be by ourselves, and that is that. We will be live again after that. All right, thank you for joining us. Have a good night. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.